Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being with all of you. Next, please. Next. I'll go right into it. We believe in Bogota that, and I guess most of our colleagues in different cities are experiencing the same thing, is that security requires a new, or the understanding of security in a city requires a new dimension right now during this pandemic. We, of course, have, and I'll talk about what we're experiencing with traditional security, with policing and criminality, but we have a new dimension, of course, that has been a new shock of demands in Bogota, and I guess in most large cities due to COVID-19. That is economic security. Of course, we have a big a big number of citizens who have lost their basic income and are requiring a different service from the city, from local government, and of course a new dimension in biosecurity, in sanitary security, biological security, which requires different procedures in public spaces, different procedures, and an approach as a security approach, because it is our security forces, it is the police, in some cases the military and civic security forces that are being responsible for implementing all these measures in the city. Next, please. So what have we experienced? We had a complete lockdown in Bogota starting in March 20th. Bogota is a city of around 8 million people, and this lockdown, which was the first in the country, and after that the entire country started a lockdown, brought a decrease in traditional criminality, in car theft, in armed robbery, in homicide. We saw a decrease, and a very important decrease in those statistics. But as was the case in Mexico City and certainly in other cities, we saw a rise in domestic violence, we saw a rise in sexual assault, and we saw a rise in bicycle theft. This given to, in Bogota, we turned big highways into bicycle lanes so that people would not use the massive transport solution, which is Transmilenio, and we would not have in the public transport service a risk of contamination, a risk of contagion. Next, please. Oh, could you go back to next? Oh, creo que falta otra. Okay, this for us, this is very important because we believe that security has a lot to do, and biosecurity and how taking care of yourself during this pandemic has a lot to do with social behavior, with compliance of social norms, and with civic culture. And this is a tracking we do every week, a survey that we do every week. And this is a question we ask people if they think they could be infected with COVID-19, but without showing any symptoms. And we all know that a lot of the population which is contaminated with COVID-19 do not show symptoms. And to this question, people answer, 83% say, no, I don't think I am contaminated. I don't think I'm positive because I do not have symptoms. But if you ask the same people, next please, if you ask the same people, do you think that other people are COVID positive and are not showing symptoms, then it changes completely. We go to 53% saying they highly agree, 18 and around 27% that partially agree. So it basically turns around, and we have 80% of people being absolutely conscious that others are possibly contaminated and that they could be a risk for themselves, but they're not able to see it in themselves. So what we have been working on is basically trying to change that pie chart, trying to bring people to acknowledge that that they have to behave in public space, that the way of having safety and biosafety is behaving as if they were all testing positive. This basically shows how in different quartiers of the city, Bogota is divided in 20 quartiers, how there is a relationship within people that believe, if you believe that in your community are observing the quarantine, are staying home, you are much more likely to stay home. You're much more likely to behave in the right way. But if you believe others are not complying, if you believe others are being irresponsible, then you're more likely to be responsible yourself. And this brings us to what we believe in Bogota is our basic or our key element in security, and that is building trust, civic trust among citizens, that a citizen is able to trust the other, not just the government, not just the institution, but that they are able to trust other people, that they're all able to trust their neighbors, and that is going to increase automatically compliance of social norms that we need to secure for having these three elements of security: economic security, traditional security, to call it in a way, and biosecurity. Next, please. As other colleagues, we have an approach with, well, civic culture is something we do permanently, that we are addressing the importance of compliance of social norms, of self-reliance in this working out this pandemic, and solidarity, elements that foster this trust among people, that they see other people helping out, that they see other people sponsoring citizens that are having problems. And it has a lot to do with being in the streets. It has a lot to do as government to being as a normal citizen, a citizen as any other, facing the difficulties of any other. You see on our left our major, Claudia Lopez, and this is a very basic video where she's making a tutorial how to make your own face mask, which is very viral, and she does this kind of things a lot. How do you come up with how do you face social this new reality, this new normality, and understanding that it has to do a lot with taking care of people, being on the streets. This office, which is our office in Bogota, in the center of the capital, is our biggest enemy. We need to be on the streets with the people, and that helps out building the social trust. Our civic culture survey before the last one, please, shows that 91% of the people are right now on the streets using face masks, and this has been very, very important for biosecurity. This has lowered the transmission rate in Bogota 42% since we started with it. 47% of people are constantly washing hands and accepting practices of social distancing. Next, please. Next.
Can I please ask you to take another minute and
of
start
course.
wrapping up?
Another element is, of course, understanding that people cannot stay home, and that security will not, that traditional security will have some difficulties if you do not bring social services to people's homes, with food, with health, because all the testing is going home, all the sanity is going, all the health services are going to the people's houses. Next, please. And this is also a very important approach to this integral view of security. Next. And as well as other colleagues have mentioned, dialogue is also a very key, a big element, because we have demos throughout the country, throughout the city, sorry. We have people who are asking for social services, who are asking for aids, for help, and we need to be constantly approaching this through social dialogue. What have we been? We've been 3 months, and if you allow me one more minute, Chipra, I'll finish. We have been 3 months already in a quarantine, 3.5 months. And of course, people have a fatigue, they're tired. We have a reopening of economic activities, and that has also led to an increase in contagion, but also to an increase, a slow increase in different statistics of crime, of theft. And we are, and I guess the experiences of other cities are going to be very illustrative. We are right now in a process where the city goes back to normal business as usual, and well, crime and insecurity goes also to business as usual. However, this integral approach has, at least in Bogotá, in contrast with other cities, has been giving a good result. Thank you very much.